New York City. Benvindo. Today a special show. We are physically here in the city that we share in this incredible space created by New Balance with its azulejo tiles. It honestly feels like we've been transported to Portugal and we're at Porto's Estádio do Dragão as if we're about to celebrate that magnificent football club, the Porto, which brings us all today together here to share their story. A club who are renowned in the world for their black belt mastery of coaching and youth development, which is incredible when you realise that their population, 10.5 million, makes them about as big as North Carolina, and yet they provide 20% of the Premier League managers in England. And I think, give or take, scientifically, 87% of the Champions League footballers are currently named João. These are things we dream of. These are things we yearn for. So to celebrate the presence of Porto in this magnificent city, as they begin their Club World Cup journey, we wanted to tap into the knowledge that they've built up over the generations at the vanguard of Portuguese football to learn what makes this entire nation so spectacular. And before we dive in, I do want to thank our good friends at New Balance who've made this whole conversation possible, this whole incredible space possible. It is a hole in time. It's really a magnificent spot. It makes us feel like we've left New York City far behind. We've transported ourselves to northern Portugal. Right now, I can feel the Atlantic breeze. I feel like I'm beside the Douro River, reveling in the beauty of Portuguese culture, which is also reflected in the new FC Porto kit. 10-year anniversary is marked between the club and the brand. They've unveiled those iconic blue and white lines, but they've also got that sunfade pink modelled after the romantic camellia flower. Parabéns. It is time to grab a bouquet. Let's go on a journey together alongside a remarkable man that I've honestly revered for a long time. He's idiosyncratic. He's walked a singular journey. There's so much that we can all learn from. This is a bloke who served as a scout, assistant manager, and then manager. Oversaw a treble in his first season, 2010-11. And then, unbeaten in the league, added the Taça de Portugal, the Portuguese Cup, became the youngest manager to win a UEFA competition when he lifted the Europa League at just 33 years and 213 days. After time in the Premier League with Chelsea and Tottenham and a Russian league title with Zenit St. Petersburg, he called close to a 15-year managerial career and became Porto President in 2024. It is a joy to have him here in New York City. Please be upstanding and welcome the quite singular. It's Mr. André Villas-Boas. You look younger now than you did when you were a manager. I don't know what the secret
like
is.
Benjamin Button, huh?
It is.
Listen, I have to start this conversation by giving you our most prestigious shirt celebrating its 10th anniversary with New Balance, and it's beautiful, it's magnificent, it's even more beautiful with your name on it, and it's a pleasure for us to.
Can I just tell you how great André Villas-Boas smells in real life? And I will always remember that smell when I look at this shirt. Can I just say, may this, my name on the back of your jersey, be the low point of the season for you. Onwards and upwards from there. I am incredibly moved. Good Lord. Smells amazing. Andrew, we've got some serious stuff to talk about. We're here in this beautiful venue. We're drinking the Portuguese wine. We've got the pastel de natas. We're going deep on Portugal as a footballing nation. But first, André, if you were asked about the soul of Portugal, the country, the people, the cork oak forests, the fado music, how would you describe the essence of your nation?
Well, we are, of course, explorers of the world, people that have gone far and far. I think that translates a lot right now into what us coaches and players did as well throughout different countries and different cultures. We love our roots. We are linked to saudade, so we have a lot of passion and emotional feelings, very intrinsic values, in our communities. We have a lot of Portuguese immigrants over here in America, in New Jersey particularly. So we are so happy to be close to them. They have given us so much through time as well, and they represent the best of Portuguese culture as well. So we have strong roots, strong beliefs, very emotional people, and linked, of course, to Fado and to the colours of our nation.
I mean, listening to that really is the root to the conversation I wanted to have. You're describing a people who are both very local, fiercely local, fiercely connected, but also global outlook to the world, bringing in the best of the world, but retaining a sense of who you are. And you've done that, lived that out in your own journey, your own career. It's singular. I can't think of another like it. Not many go from scout to manager to president. I mean, there's you. There's a long list. I mean, everyone here, we see what managers do. We kind of think we know what managers do. We'll talk about that in a minute. It's mostly gesticulating on the sidelines in frantic fashion. But behind closed doors, it is more opaque. What does a football club president do, André?
Well, I have to choose the right people in the right places, and then believe in their talent, to take the club forward and through in the different areas. So this is probably the most sensitive thing of all, is to choose the right people, because in the end you are giving them control. Me as manager, I had some things in my control, which was my players, my tactics, my team. As president, your sole job is, to represent your people, which are the Porto fans that have elected you, and then make sure that the people that you select are able to take you forward. They have they follow your vision, what you want for the club, and you have to put them in the right positions to put their talent to place.
I want to dive into the subject at hand. Let's start with youth development, because your nation has given the world almost a biblical lineage of greats. Porto alone has given the world the talents of silky suave playmakers like Deco, James Rodriguez, forwards Hulk, Radamel El Tigre, Falcao, Liverpool duo Diego Jota, Luis Diaz, Casemiro, Champions League winner Vitinha. In most European countries, football is really a reflection of the people who play it, the nations that play it. How would you describe the essence of Portuguese football, its DNA?
Well, the essence of Portuguese football and Portuguese players probably are players that are outstanding technically, very, very creative on the ball, and our attachment to the game is second to none. So
you feel that? You really feel that?
Yeah, I mean, football is in our culture. So we have 3 daily newspapers that massacre us all the time, and football is that reality. I mean, every single bar and every single conversation in a family household is about football, about their football club, about who's about to win, and who is about to bring more players in, and who is going through precisely the youth levels. So we have now, you will see tomorrow, Rodrigo Mora, which just turned 18-year-old, is a genius footballer, another playmaker, on the making, another star on the making. And yeah, we just love the game. And I think that nurtures through even more talent right now.
So a tactical, a creativity, and a reflecting of the joy of the nation on the ball.
Technically gifted.
So how do we get there? Because there's 200,000 footballers playing at any one time in Portugal. So it does have to be, pound for pound, the greatest hotbed of youth development in the world. You churn out star talent after star talent. The national team, we all just saw you tearfully win the Nations League. I spoke to Eric Dyer once, that crew-cut English defender who grew up in Portugal in the Portuguese youth system. Yeah. He was one. I asked him for the secret as to why Portugal developed so many elite footballers, because he had that unique English perspective on it. And he said, look, the difference is in England, these are his words, someone's always yelling at you or telling you where to be on the pitch. Whereas in Portugal, the focus is on letting young players figure it out themselves, to learn by doing. That's Eric Dyer's POV on the core of youth development in Portugal. What's it about in Portugal that sets it apart in your mind?
Well, that's very cool. I think what we're speaking about is key as well. All right. So the fact that we really have technically gifted players. We have talent coming through genetically, and I think every single kid wants to be a footballer in a Portuguese household. Then we have something that is very interesting for us right now is that since the Mourinho phenomena. We have young kids that want to become football coaches, and they take the academic route to become a football coach. So the quality of our coaching is really, really high, and that's why in youth academies and in different clubs around the country we have outstanding quality coaches, and that's why we keep on exporting them as well. We have so much talent in football coaching that, fortunately for us, is passing on to the quality of our players.
So, I mean, I know this is a nature versus nurture kind of question. 10.5 million people in Portugal, but you are constantly pumping out the best players in the world. 2016 Euros winners. So how much of it is coaching, as you say, and how much of it is just the greatest supply of natural talent bursting forth? If you were to percentage
I think that, probably a mix, but I wouldn't, I normally reiterate that the Mourinho impact on the Portuguese level of coaching was really outstanding. So, I followed the same route. A nephew of mine has followed that route. So you have young people that at 14, 15, they want to become football coaches. And then they go into the universities, and through the academic years that they learn in universities, they want to become the football coaches. And this really brings a lot of quality, a lot of competition as well, but a lot of quality into our youth departments as well.
So focusing on that youth development and how you take raw talent and then harness it, begin the journey. Arsene Wenger once came on our show and he talked about 3 stages of development. By the way, look at that photograph. Somehow I look older than Arsene Wenger, which is really a remarkable achievement on my part. But he talked about the 3 stages of development. He said technique between the ages of 7 and 12, step 1. Step 2, develop physically between 12 and 16. And then he said between 17 and 19, the most important, deepening the mental side of the game. That's how he talked about tenacity. That's really forged in those stages. How do you think about it in Porto, the youth development system and the stages of evolution of talent?
I think what we have different from the other top 5 leagues, let's say, is that we really give talent a chance. So it is normal in Portugal for you to see a 17-year-old or a 16-year-old on the pitch. And this is something that happened recently to us in Porto with Rodrigo Mora. And we have no fear of putting them in the first team. And this is why we are nurturing talent as well. And people, in reality, they dream of being in the first team of Porto. And they dream of it because this dream is attainable and achievable. And this, I think, is a really good example of what happens in Porto's academy, and the same with Sporting Lisbon and Benfica.
So at what age can you tell a kid has the skills, has the real deal? Can you look at an 8-year-old and be, that one will be playing for Porto? Or is it, 11? Or is it genuinely until they're 16 and you can fling them into the team? You never know. What age do you look at and be like,
it's a good thing. It's also a funny story because, agents in football right now are scouting precisely at that age.
At 8?
12, to sign contracts of representation into the future with kids already at, so young, but technically gifted. So they are betting on them as well. This is something outstanding for the game because, at 12-year-olds, you can already distinguish people that can make a difference.
You can.
I think so. Yeah.
So you would know.
I mean, if we look at Rodrigo, for example, in the case of Porto, but if you look at what Lamine Yamal has done also in Barcelona since he was a young boy, and you go back to Messi as well, and you see that those kids were exceptionally gifted at that age already.
God, you're shattering a lot of dreams in this audience. It's over. Anyone over the age of 13 who's not currently got an agent, it's over, guys. But over here in America, And we were talking about it before we came on. Youth development is largely a business still. It can cost families. They call it pay to play. And because you want to make as much money, you want to win games, show mums and dads, put your kid here. We win things, and that's at every age level to show they're worth it. Often to win, you just play the big physical kids, mow the other kids down, victory trophy. You're 11. In your academies, do you care about winning? Do you care about trophies at the young ages, or are you just trying to develop as many individual skills as possible?
Normally, we try to develop. So normally, for example, our under 19s is normally filled with under 17 kids. So we are as soon as they are giving us enough quality, we are jumping.
You're accelerating.
Yeah, we are accelerating their development. This, on the other hand, has meant that for FC Porto, we haven't won national youth titles for a long time. All right, and people normally think that okay, maybe in your youth levels you're not doing things as they should do because you're not bringing in the victories, but it's actually the opposite because you are bringing in the talent. So Porto has not been champion in the under 19s. I don't know, for 10 years at least. 8 years in the under 17s, but we are nurturing continuous talent, which is what we want into the first team.
Well, when you think about talent that you have managed as a Premier League focused human being, I always remember what you did to Gareth Bale. You took, you're still a young upstart. He was like that left back turned kind of blazing a flank player. I think I first met him at Southampton. They told me the story that when he was under 15, he was one of the slowest players on the squad. And he was like, the myth, I'm sure this is slightly exaggerated, but he was one day away from being cut from the programme. Gareth Bale, slow. And then suddenly his bone plates clicked. Boom. And within a year, he was starting in the Premier League, just the blaze of speed that we now know. But it was really under your tutelage, André. I think his goal output just exploded. I think 12 goals before you got there, 26 with you. Ended up moving to Real Madrid. What did you see that you wanted to work with? And what was the regimen that you used to help him fulfill his potential?
Well, in reality, I can go back to that story because it's funny as well. So Gareth comes into my office one day and he says, "Boss, I'm not happy with my football. I don't feel happy on the pitch." I said, "Come on, how come you not feel happy on the pitch? You are an outstanding player." And he says, "I would like to play in the attacking positions on a 4-4-2." And I say, "Okay, I'll give you a game and we try and see how it goes." And that's it. So he became a forward in Tottenham on a 4-4-2 with Adebayor up front. It was actually interesting because Adebayor had scored the season before with Redknapp. He scored 18 goals. This season, Adebayor finished with 5 goals, and Gareth finished with 30 of them, or 26, and he was just outstanding. So,
had you thought about that before, or were you? You're just a very good listener.
Sometimes you have to give them the tools and the freedom, for them to be able to express themselves on the pitch. I could be telling you that I had some kind of specific drills with Gareth, but that wasn't the case. He was just a phenomenal player, and he enjoyed that freedom. We had that kind of human connectivity, and he became Player of the Year that season. He was scoring goals like crazy. So from that freedom that freedom on the pitch to occupy different spaces, to go in behind, to come between the lines. To be on the right, to be on the left, that freedom just, helped him enjoy his football.
I can see here in the United States, we long to develop a Gareth Bale. One, we've still yet to create, to mould, to nurture one indisputably world-class men's outfielder. When you look at us from afar, what do you think we need to do to have that happen?
In America?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have the knowledge sufficient to know and to give you a right opinion of what's happening in America. I'm sure there is talent out there. Probably, just out of my head, the quality of the competitions is one of your problems. The scale of the American country as well. What we have in Portugal is that in reality we can compete against top-level academies like Benfica and Sporting, so Braga and Guimarães. We are always in competition against academies that nurture very, very good talent. So the fact that they are at high level as well, makes your competition rises and your players have to excel as well. So I don't know what is happening here. Probably is related also to the quality of coaching, without wanting to be very aggressive on that matter. But yeah, it's a situation that I have seen parallel in China as well, for the scale of their country, the amount of talent that they have as well. They excel in different sports, but not on that sport, football. And if you think of the Chinese type, where they are always available for training, they want to learn, but we were never able to raise youth levels over there that could nurture Chinese football players of a high quality. So it's really difficult to know the reasons why, but I would say normally it's related to competition, to the lack of competition, and high level competition.
Yeah, I mean, you made it very clear that these stories, the youth development, the coaching, that seem like parallel tracks, are actually deeply intertwined. In America's landscape, it has made incredible progress over the last 2 decades, but the one place where we are self-admittedly languishing really is the quality of coaching, the quality of managers. Portugal provides more managers to the top 5 leagues in Europe than any other nation. It is amazing. I said earlier, 20% of the Premier League managers are Portuguese. That pipeline is a marvel. What is it about the Portuguese footballing mind that lends itself to elite management, the tactics, the ability to understand the crucible of pressure, the man management? What is the secret?
Well, first of all, adaptability. That's the first factor. We arrive in any country, we are quick to learn the language. I think that always comes back to our explorer roots, let's say, and our ability to live in different cultures. So we are quick to adapt. Communication skills as well, method, and man management skills for sure. I think that that excels in Portugal.
Just naturally.
Well, naturally, no. Via academic route or via the playing route as well, we are able to, in the part that is related to method, quality of coaching, training exercises, drills, I think we excel at that.
So let's touch on both of those. The question I had for you, and you've half answered it, is there something about how Portugal trains its players as players to think tactically on the field, to communicate to each other as players, that naturally better prepares them for that segue into management after they retire?
Yeah. We let them make their own decisions sometimes. And I think that improves also, the decision making at later stages. So the fact that you put players in the situations where they have to use their creativity, when they are technically gifted already to come out of those situations, is when then you have tremendous quality players as well. When you mix creativity with technique.
I want to dig into the academic thing, because it is, I think, for all of us in America, it's mind-blowing to think that this is where it's forged. You can literally study elite coaching in an affordable and widely accessible way. There's a university program from Dr. Vitor Frade at the University of Porto, which has birthed a methodology popularised by Jose Mourinho. The way you talk about him and his impact on Portuguese society, you make him sound like what Steve Jobs is here for American kids. Everyone wants to be Steve Jobs. They're like, Jose is our Jobs. He created, Frade, the tactical periodization, which is it's a complex, essentially a holistic training program, as I understand it, to get players to peak fitness at the exact same time through different intensities of training. Can you describe it in your own words and how that idea has moved through coaching trees across the world?
Well, it's the game is evolving, all right. So that was a method that was instilled at that time, it still lasts already. So it's basically taught in the University of Porto. It has more and more followers. It's an integral method of coaching the game, where you don't separate what is physical from what is tactical from what is technical. So normally you provide exercises that must touch all of the single characteristics of the game as a whole, and at the same time. So that is a method that has been very, very successful, particularly with Jose being the flagship of that method. The game has changed now a lot, so it's become more and more physical. Coaches right now, managers right now are acting also because of the continuously sacking of football coaches. They are coaching by survival as well, which in the end has a direct impact on the quality of the game. So there are not a lot of thinkers in the game. There are not a lot of coaches right now that are provocative and bring on provocative ideas. So the nature of that method is gradually diminishing. The impact of that method is gradually diminishing because of managers having to act by survival and changing the way that they teach the game and into the players and the way they put their tactics.
There's the academic theory, there's the reality, managing by survival. You love that word provocative. We were chatting before, you talked about provocative football. I don't want to project as to what that means. What is provocative football to you, André?
Well, provocative is managers that throw different ideas into the game. The game has gone from, for example, man-to-man marking in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and then gradually with Arrigo Sacchi changed to zonal marking. Via the Bielsa method and the De Zerbi method in some ways, going back to man-to-man marking again. So that this means that, to play the game at that level, you have to be very intense physically because you have to chase people during X amount of meters for X amount of time. There are people that think about the game and they want to introduce new ideas into the game. We have that kind of coach right now in Porto with Anselmi. He is that type of coach, a provocative coach, thinks about the game, thinks about different solutions of the game. The game doesn't normally go, sometimes for us football coaches, when you see the game going out of your hands is when we become, crazy on the bench. But he is thinking, why has the opponent gained momentum and I lost it? And what is the impact that is having on my game and how do I have to adjust it? So Anselmi is that kind of coach. And we are really thrilled to have him, and he is trying to instill those provocative ideas into the game.
So he's been here, Martin Anselmi, since January of this year.
Yeah.
39 years of age. I mean, it's breathtaking. He's an Argentine. You plucked him from Cruz Azul in Mexico.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, when you are evaluating coaches, what are you looking for, other than the word we've used, the provocative? And how do you know who will be a success? Even if they haven't shown it, as Anselmi, is new to a top 5 European league. How do you spot someone and be like, even in the crucible of top 5 European league football, everything he does there will translate through here?
Well, what for us is important is also youth development and the way that you are able to develop players. So Martin has a very great story in Independiente del Valle, both as assistant and as manager as well. So he is known for bringing talent from the youth and developing talent. So looking at your youth levels and bringing them on. Rodrigo Mora is one example with him that exploded. Of course, he wasn't the first one to throw him into the pitch. Was our previous coach, Vitor Bruno. But Rodrigo has excelled with Anselmi. So he is enjoying, for example, that type of freedom and creativity, and he's scoring goals like Gareth Bale did for me at Tottenham. And Martin has that kind of feeling for the players to nurture talent, to develop talent. So this is one of the most important things for us, the provocation of the game as well. Of course, it's our responsibility as a president to give him the tools as well to be successful. So Porto, we went through a very difficult time financially, where we had to restructure the whole foundation of the club. We were in a very, very sensitive situation on the brink of a total bankruptcy. We've managed to solve that, but we had to solve that also by selling players, where we sold 200 million in football players in 12 months. And in reality, now we are in a position that we can invest in the team and give Martin the tools for him to be successful at Porto, which is to win the league. and to meet the expectations of all of these people right here that want the title back, and you know, this is what they want to have in their hands.
So you were a manager. You know what it takes from the inside. Elite managers are expected to do so bloody much. No one can do it all. I mean, it's like man management, tactics, psychology, PR, data, sports scientist, youth development expert, and more. No one can do it all. So what would you say is the most important skill for a coach that you're looking for?
Well, difficult one, because you have crossover disciplines, like you said. It's the responsibility of the club to make sure that we are able to provide the coach with that. So this is what makes the difference of FC Porto a great club, which is what I had also at my time as a coach, is that I was able to focus completely on the game, on my method, on my coaching, and the club took over all of the rest for me. Okay, so this is something that Porto eventually lost through time, and we are putting things back. So we have a number of people that you know, are providing for the coach right now in terms of performance, in terms of scouting, in terms of injury prevention. So all of this runs parallel to the football coach, and we want him to be focused precisely on what matters to him, which is coaching his players, bringing up good players, and developing talenting.
United States has produced exactly 2 Premier League managers in the course of human history, dating back to George Washington. We've had 2. My friend Jesse Marsh, now running Canada, in charge of Leeds from February 2022 to February 2023. What a glorious year! And his mentor Bob Bradley, he lasted exactly 85 days at Swansea City. When you look at American coaches, how do you gauge where we are in terms of developing top managerial talent? We're so good at NFL coaches.
For me to answer that question. I mean, I really had good conversations with Jesse one time. So his methods were also provocative. There's a lot of great training sessions of Jesse on YouTube for you know, the coaching people out there. I like his methods. It's a pity that he didn't you know, continuously sustain his success. I think he's a great coach.
So hard as an American, though. Yeah. I mean, it was so bloody hard. It's like you do.
It's a very competitive environment. There is also, you know, a lot of coaches out there. So the market has never been so overcrowded of coaches. Maybe we have a fault as well, Portuguese, because we continue to nurture them. But the reality is that there are a lot of managers around. There are not a lot of good managers, but there are a lot of managers around.
I want to close by talking about this Club World Cup. We're on the brink of it here in the United States. It's a new challenge of a tournament that's been tacked on to an exhaustingly long European season. But Porto will be in there amongst, and as one of the best teams in the world. There's a $125 million prize for the winner. As you're bracing yourself for the upcoming games, what are you expecting?
Well, difficult time for European clubs. There are a few clubs that are within competition that have probably a competitive advantage, particularly the Brazilian clubs, the Argentinian clubs.
Because they're in mid-season.
They're in the beginning of the season, actually, probably 10, 15 games into a season. So they are fresh. Of course, they come from different backgrounds, the Argentinians and the Brazilians, but they have found structure recently, particularly in Brazilian football. Flamengo, Palmeiras, River Plate. So they are all very, very structured clubs with lots of talent around. Palmeiras has invested a lot this season. So I think it's going to be a great game tomorrow against a big team. For us, European clubs, this comes at a very bad time. A few of us have had to give vacation to the players. Then we had to bring them back early without time enough for them to reset. So for us, we're like in continuation of the last season. And whatever happens after this tournament, the new season is coming. So they never actually had the reset that they need into a new season. So it is interesting as well. And as I was telling you, we tested the market recently. So we had a special transfer window from the 1st to the 10th of June, where the Club World Cup clubs operated. And it was fun, it was incredible to see that a lot of football players didn't want to be in the competition because they preferred to rest in order to start fresh the new season. So this is actually outstanding as well, because FIFA Pro is demanding more rest to the players.
The Players Union.
Yeah, and actually with the World Cup coming in America next season, it's even bigger competition, more teams, probably 1,200 athletes in one competition. So the calendar is becoming exhausting, and we have more injuries coming into players, and players are really, they can't put a good spectacle if they are not fresh.
Andre, you get me really hyped for this tournament, I got to tell you. Exhausted players, fear of injuries, too much football. What is the goal for Porto? Like, what would you like to have happen in the next couple of weeks?
I think we have a responsibility towards our fans to bring wins, to go past the group stage, of course, and to reach the last 16. In the last 16, we could potentially meet two important teams of European football, whatever they do in their group, of course, which is Paris Saint-Germain and Atletico Madrid. So that raises the level of competition for us. We want to do well in this competition, to leave a mark, particularly to the Portuguese immigrants over here, fans of FC Porto. And for us, it's important also to create a base of love for the brand, for FC Porto, for us as a club. And that's why we are, doing a lot of these activities right now, where we touch base not only with our community, but potentially new fans for our club.
Two more, and I'm going to let you go. This tournament, there's the Porto team, but there's so many players in it who've come through the Porto Academy, the Porto first team. You've contributed so much to global football, players, managers, tactical ideologies. Can you put into words how you feel when you see an FC Porto player dominating on the global stage, whether it's for your club or for another club, or for their nation? Do you look at them and feel a sense of real pride that they were made in Porto?
Yeah. And listen, we try to instill that. For us, a return home to an ex-FC Porto player is really strong, and emotionally also for our fans. So we try every single time to be in touch with them. So we wrote to all of them, ex-FC Porto players that currently won the League of Nations, that are no longer in the club, players like Diogo Jota, Ruben Neves, Vitinha. We wrote to all of them. Vitinha again, also for the Champions League win. So we try to keep that attachment. We are very proud of that attachment to Porto. Porto is a club with lots of intrinsical values and visceral values, and we try to keep shortening the distance to our ex-players as well. So we are very proud of them. We're proud of their achievements, and we hope to bring them back always at some stage back into the club.
It's a club of value. Porto stands for something absolutely unique. I've been to your stadium. I felt it. I'm not a spiritual man. It's almost like a religious identity sometimes in that stadium. It's incredibly beautiful. In your own words, we're about to see FC Porto play with the world watching here in the United States. If you were to describe those values to someone who was not familiar with Porto, what would you say they are? What does Porto stand for at its essence?
Well, Porto stands for a fight against installed powers. It has always been the story of the city. It is also the story of the club. Some people call it the second city syndrome. We don't see it like that. We see values on our roots, on the way that people show pride for their colors, and on the way that you see people in the streets dressing a Porto shirt. So those are things that have passed on very strongly from generation to generation, from grandfathers that take their grandsons into the stadium, And this is something that is very felt strongly in the city, and we try to instill those values. So we are a members club. We are not owned by anybody. The members own the club, and this gives us, strong competitive emotional advantage against the others. I think when you are owned by someone else that doesn't know the values of your club and just uses it as an instrument to raise money and create value, you are extremely business oriented. You are a genius business oriented man, but you will never understand what are the values of your club. And this is something that we feel as a competitive advantage going into the games.
I've got to say, I've always been so drawn to Porto. That fight against power is a beautiful, beautiful way of framing it. It is a club with true soul in every single way. And Americans watching this, if you do find yourself in the proximity of the Iberian Peninsula, it is bucket list to go and spend the night at that stadium with that fan base. I just want to thank you. I want to wish you, your family, your club where you've been so entwined your entire life, joy, success on your journey. André, obrigado.
Thank you so much.
Gareth, thank you. Health and happiness. Thank you. André Villas-Boas. What an incredible human being. Genuinely, what a journey. I am so unbelievably grateful. I want to thank you all for being with us and communing in this space. I want to thank New Balance. I want to thank AVB, who is a singular figure in football. I want to thank everyone at FC Porto for helping create the opportunity for this conversation. I hope they know just how inspiring they are to all of us in the United States of America. Honestly, how much we can learn from them. You can watch FC Porto this Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, in their first game of the Club World Cup against Brazilian club Palmeiras. But I want to quickly end by raising a glass. It has been a wonder to learn from someone. Today we got to see how the linguiça gets made from so many different angles. Your nation of 10.5 million people. Honestly, we've got 330 million people here. We just have to take a fragment of this learning. And I think then we could win the Gold Cup even with our C squad. So I'd just say to all of us here, to better days ahead and courage. But to close, by the way, everyone's welcome to go downstairs, to drink the coffee, to eat the pastries, explore the space, this magnificent space. I'm going to come down in a minute and raise a glass with each and every one of you. We've got to clear this balcony. This is New York Fire Code language speaking. As so often, I speak the New York Fire Code. So as Fabrizio would say, here we go. It's great to be with you. Let's go and have a drink downstairs. Rock on.